The first soil, dear students, which we will be studying in our syllabus is alluvial soil. Please remember that this soil is one of the most important soil present in our country. Now look at this picture carefully. What do you see in the picture? You are correct. You will find here a river flowing, and this river has brought some soil which is getting deposited in the river itself, which where I have written one, that is soil which is already deposited by the river. Okay, then some soil will be deposited on the banks of the river. Okay, the more soil will be brought by the river next year, and more soil will be brought and deposited by the river. In this way, the soil which is brought by the river and deposited by the river, we call it by the name alluvial soil. Now, suppose this is a river, okay, and this river brings some soil and deposits this soil on the banks of the river. Okay, now when the next year, when the floods will come, okay, when more floods will come, more soil will be brought, and this new soil will push this soil away from it. So this soil will be pushed away from the river. Okay, the every new soil which will be brought by the river is going to push the previously deposited soil away from the river. It means as you start moving away from the river, you will find the soil is becoming older and older. So if I ask you that here I have written 3, here I have written 4, which of the soils will be the oldest out of these 4? You are correct. The soil which is further away from the river, okay, is old soil. So in this way, this alluvial soil, okay, is based on its deposition nearby the river is of 2 types. Okay, the first is the soil which is deposited near the river. We call it by the name khadar soil. The soil which is deposited further away from the river, we call it bhangar soil. Okay, bhangar means old. So if a question is asked, okay, that out of these 2, khadar soil and bhangar soil, which do you think is more fertile? You are correct. Because khadar is new soil, it is more fertile than bhangar soil. Okay, now this some soil is not always getting deposited on the banks of the river, but some soil is ultimately brought and deposited. Where do you think it is getting deposited? You are right. Here it is a delta. So the soil which is now deposited at the mouth of the river will also be an alluvial soil, and this soil will be called as deltaic alluvial soil. So in this way, we find that soil which is alluvial soil is basically of 3 types. First one is deltaic alluvial soil. Okay, then second soil which we have already studied is deposited near the rivers, okay, as well as away from the river. We call it by the name inland alluvial soil. Now which one is the third one? Okay, so if I draw here India, then we know here is Bay of Bengal. Now some soil will be brought by the Bay of Bengal also, which is getting deposited in a coastal area, and we call that soil by the name coastal alluvial soil. So in this way, alluvial soil is of 3 types. Coastal alluvial soil will be deposited all along the coast. Deltaic alluvial soil will be found at the mouth of river, and third one is inland alluvial soil, which is deposited nearby the river and away from the river. And we have already seen that inland alluvial soil is of two types. If the soil is found near the river, we call it by the name Khadar soil, and if the soil is found deposited away from the river, we call that soil by the name Bhangar soil. Okay. Now, what are the characteristics of alluvial soil? Now, please remember, some time back we saw that depth determines the fertility of the soil. And here we will find that alluvial soil is found up to the depth of 500 meter. That means it is found at an extremely great depth, and therefore this soil is very good for cultivation of crops. Its second characteristic includes that this soil is grayish in color, basically grayish in color, but its color changes from place to place. Now, why does the color change from place to place? The reason is we have studied that this soil is formed by the depositional work of river. If river is flowing over black color rocky region, the alluvial soil's color will be blackish or darker. If the soil is flowing over the reddish color rock, so the soil formation that will be found there, alluvial soil, will be slightly reddish in color. But in a general, the color of this soil is gray. Okay, you can see here grayish color. Somewhere it is dark also, yeah, depending upon the rocky region in which it is flowing. Now, interestingly, this soil consists of 6 important nutrients. One is lime, second is iron, third is magnesium, fourth is potash, fifth is aluminium, and sixth is calcium. So if I write down the abbreviation, it will be looking like the word Limpac. Okay, lime, iron, magnesium, potassium, aluminium, and calcium. These are major nutrients, and we are able to see that these nutrients are present in a very great quantity. Therefore, this soil is very fertile soil, but it lacks some nutrients, dear student. One of them is nitrogen. Okay, another nutrient which is lacking is phosphorus, and at certain places this soil also lacks humus. Okay, now depending on the presence of nutrients, we classify the characteristic as chemical characteristic of soil. So if the question is asked about the chemical characteristic, we will say that the soil is rich in Limpac, and we have already seen what does that Limpac mean. Okay, you have to write the full form over there. And second, we will say the soil is deficient in nitrogen, phosphorus, and to some extent humus also. Okay, we have already seen that depending on the location, this soil is of 3 types. Now look at this actual formation of the deltaic soil. You will find it here. This is a delta of river Godavari in South India, and it has formed a big delta. And the soil, dear student, that you are seeing here, as well as here, as well as here, this is deltaic alluvial soil. Then this is another deltaic alluvial soil. Another important characteristic of this soil, if you see here, one word is used, ex situ. Now please remember, this is a very important word, ex situ. Now what is the meaning of the word ex situ? Please remember, if soil is found where it is not formed, then it is called as ex situ soil. Okay, as we have seen some time back, that when the river is going to flow, river will carry soil from place 1, place 2, it will carry soil from place 3, and in this way the soil will be collected from one area but it will be found at some other area. Such a kind of soil is called as XC2 soil. So alluvial soil is XC2 soil, or we can also say it is called as transported soil. And as I already told you, this soil is found in the largest quantity in India. So almost 40% part of India is occupied by this soil. Okay, you will find this soil mainly in northern states, mainly in North Indian states. Okay, in Punjab, Haryana, then in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, also in Assam. Okay, now why do you think this soil will be found over there? Okay, let us look at now this map again. Now please remember that here is river Ganga. Okay, and there are many tributaries of river Ganga. They come from Himalaya mountain. When these rivers come down from Himalaya mountain, they bring lot of soil which gets deposited in this area where Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, and also Assam area is present. Now, this soil, if you see here picture, okay, this crop, dear student, that you see is tea crop. In which state does tea crop grow? You are correct. It is mainly found in Assam. Okay, so we can say that alluvial soil is found in Assam also. If the question is asked about distinguishing between Khadar and alluvial soil, okay, we have to say that Khadar is new alluvial soil, Bhangar is old alluvial soil. Khadar is more fertile, Bhangar soil is less fertile. Then this Khadar soil is found near the banks of the river, whereas this Bhangar soil is found away from the river about the altitude of 30 meter. Okay. Another difference between them, that this Khadar soil is more dark. Okay, it's darker, whereas Bhangar soil is light in color. This Khadar soil is found near the river, therefore this soil will get renewed every year. Renewed means more and more soil will be brought every year by the river, therefore Khadar soil will be is getting renewed every year. But when you talk about this Bhangar soil, because it is located away from the river, much away from the river, so there the new soil doesn't reach immediately. So the Bhangar soil, which is found quite far away from the river, this soil does not get renewed annually. Okay, now which are the major crops grown in alluvial soil? As we saw, this alluvial soil is very fertile soil, therefore variety of crops grow in it. Okay, these crops include cereals. Cereals means food grains. The most important food grain growing in that soil is wheat, also rice. Okay, then variety of oil seeds also grow. Oil seeds, oil seeds are those seeds from which we get oil. So these oil seeds include soya bean, groundnut, mustard. Okay, this soil also support growth of pulses, variety of pulses like green gram, black gram. Okay, and also some commercially important crops are those crops which are required for industrial purpose, and these crops include sugarcane. Then another crop is jute, another crop is tobacco. So if you now, dear students, look at this list, you will realize that this soil is really very fertile and supports the growth of so many crops. Okay, now if you see this picture, okay, you must have recognized it. Yeah, it's a season of Baisakhi when harvesting of wheat is done. Please remember, this Punjab is having abundance of alluvial soil, and it supports growth of wheat crop in such a great extent that Punjab is known as greenery of India. Okay, thanks to this alluvial soil found there abundantly. As I said, variety of crops are growing in this soil. You can see here sunflower is an example of oil seed growing over there. Tobacco grows, soybean is another oil seed. Okay, groundnut is another oil seed. So variety of oil seeds grow in this soil. Also we will find sugar cane. Okay, this crop is required to make jaggery. You require it to make of course sugar, and this also grows there abundantly. Okay, now let us look at the next soil. This soil is called as black soil. It is also called as lava soil, or also called as rigor. Okay, now when we look at the word black soil, okay, its color is in reality really black. Okay, and that's why it is called as black soil. Then you will wonder why it is called as lava soil. Okay, please understand this. Suppose I draw here the surface of the earth. When the volcanic eruption occur, volcanic eruptions, then the lava that comes out, dear students, okay, this lava solidifies and turns into basalt rock, which is blackish in color. When this rock gets disintegrated, the soil which is formed is called as lava soil, because it is formed because of what? The lava that comes out because of the volcanic eruption. And when this lava, as I said, solidifies, okay, it turns into basalt rock, and when this basalt rock disintegrates, this soil is formed. Okay, you can see here in picture, and you can see this lava here, okay, reddish in color, but on solidification it is becoming black in color. And by the blackish color rock, when the soil is formed, that soil is called as black soil. Okay, now what are the characteristics of this soil? The first thing, this soil is volcanic in origin. Volcanic, we have seen why it is volcanic in origin. Second thing, this soil is called as in situ soil. Okay, in situ. Now what is the meaning of the word in situ? Okay, now look here at this mountain. Now this mountain consists of this basalt rock. Now when this mountain, okay, will start getting disintegrated, when the soil will be formed, this soil will get deposited nearby this mountain. It means black soil will be found where it is getting formed. Such a kind of soils are called as in situ soil. Now third very important characteristic of this soil, we also call it by the name black cotton soil. Now you might wonder, black cotton, please remember, black cotton does not mean the blackish cotton. Okay, black cotton soil, that means this soil is best suited for cultivation of cotton, and that is why this soil is called as black cotton soil. The next if the questions are asked, dear student, that why this soil is called as lava soil, now we know the reason. If the question is asked why this soil is called as black cotton soil, just now we have seen because it is best suited for cultivation of cotton. If the question is asked why is it in situ soil, you are right, because this soil is found where it is formed. So in this way the questions are asked, okay, based on this topic. Now let us look at the picture here. Okay, what do you think is the color of this rock? You are correct, it is basalt rock. Okay, this is basalt rock. So when rivers will be flowing over this rock, okay, the rock will start getting disintegrated, and the soil which will be formed will be called as black cotton soil or black soil, also called as lava soil. Okay, you see this monument which is seen over here. Okay, this monument is also formed out of blackish color rock which is called as basalt rock. Okay, so this second picture also consisting of basalt rock. When this rock will also get disintegrated, black soil will be formed. Okay, now the question comes, where will you find this soil? Okay, so this soil is basically found in Maharashtra, in Gujarat, in Madhya Pradesh, also north part of Karnataka. These are the major states where this soil is found. Okay, now let us look at the more characteristics of this soil. Okay, now sometime back we found that this soil is black in color. Okay, but if you see at this picture, you will find the color is not black. This color is called as chestnut brown color. Okay, we call it by the name chestnut brown. So this soil is chestnut brown to black in color. Okay, so somewhere it is chestnut brown in color, somewhere black in color. Okay, now look at this picture number 2. You will find here a lot of mud is getting stuck to this soil. Please remember, black soil becomes very sticky when this soil is moist. Okay, and because it is becoming very sticky when it is moist, this soil is then become difficult to plow when it is moist. Another interesting characteristic, when this soil dries up, when the moisture is lost from the soil, it develops cracks in the soil. You can see these cracks, dear children. Okay, and these cracks are in this way formed naturally, and when the cracks are formed naturally, the soil is as if getting plowed. Okay, as if natural plowing is occurring. Therefore this soil is also called as or termed as self plowing soil. Then sometime back we have studied the chemical characteristics of alluvial soil. This soil also consists of the same nutrients except calcium. So can you tell L stands for what? You are right. It is lime, iron, magnesium, potash, aluminium. Okay, aluminium. These are the major nutrients present in soil. Okay, but this soil also lacks nitrogen, humus, and phosphate. Okay, so these are the chemical characteristics of this soil, that it is rich in lime, iron, magnesium, potash, and aluminium or alumina, but it lacks nitrogen, it lacks phosphates, and it lacks humus. Okay, now sometime back I told you that this soil is called as self-plowing soil. So question might be asked in examination that why this soil is called as self-plowing soil, or question might be asked that why Maharashtra is very famous for cotton cultivation. So we saw some time back that this soil is found in Maharashtra in a large quantity, and this soil is very good for cotton cultivation. Therefore Maharashtra will be ranking pretty high in the production of cotton. As I said, the soil becomes sticky. Okay, and because it becomes sticky, the plowing, now look at this picture carefully. What do you think? Will the plowing here is going to become very easy? Of course not. So therefore in Maharashtra, Gujarat, the farmers will begin to plow their fields just after the rainy season, just after. So just after, the reason is the soil becomes slightly moist, so digging will be easy. But if it becomes very moist, then the plowing is going to become very difficult. Now let us look at major crops which are growing in this soil. Okay, as we have already studied, the major crop, okay, which is growing here is of course cotton. Besides cotton, the soil supports growth of wheat. It also supports growth of gram. Okay, gram is also popularly called as chana. Okay, chana, it's a local name that is used in our country. So black soil supports growth of cotton very much. Then it also supports growth of sugarcane cultivation. You can see here this blackish soil, this is black soil. It supports growth of sugarcane on a large scale. It is also very good for cultivation of jawar. Jawar is one of the millets. Can you identify this crop? You are correct. It is rice. So this soil is good for cultivation of rice also. Okay. Now let us go to the next soil. This soil is called as red soil. Okay. As the color suggests, this soil is really red in color. Okay. Now look at this rock. Okay. This rock is called as ancient metamorphic rock. What is the color of this rock, children? Yes, it's reddish in color. So when this soil will be formed from this reddish color rock, its color will also be red. Now let us look at this. What are now the characteristics of this soil? As we already seen that this soil is red in color, and its red color is due to the presence of iron oxide. Iron oxide is nothing but rusted iron. Okay. Unfortunately, this soil is not very fertile. It lacks nitrogen, phosphorus, it lacks humus, it also lacks lime. Okay, so it's not very fertile soil, but it does have potash, okay, present in it. We have already seen potash is required for plant growth and for greater crop yield. But unfortunately, because other nutrients are not present in much quantity, therefore we have to add lot of fertilizers to this soil. Okay, fortunately this soil supports, or it is allowing the fertilizers to get added in it, and therefore crops can be grown even in this soil. Okay, what do you look at? Okay, you are looking at a chain, है ना? Do you notice this chain is rusted? Yes. Which metal do you think, children, is this? This is iron. And when this iron rusts, it turns into iron oxide. So red soil is rich in iron oxide. Okay. However, if you look here at this soil, somewhere it is appearing yellowish in color. Okay. So please remember, this red soil is also not only red in color, but somewhere it is yellowish in color, and its color turns from red to yellow when water gets added in this soil. When water gets added means when this soil is hydrated, it turns yellow in color. Okay. Now another important characteristic of this soil, that this soil does not retain moisture. So because it does not retain moisture, we need to add a lot of water. We have to keep on irrigating this soil in order to grow the crops. This soil is friable. Okay, friable. Now you look at the lumps of this soil. Okay, lumps which are I am encircling. if you take that lump and you drop it, it will break into pieces. This characteristic is called as friable. It means the soil crumbles very easily. And another problem with this soil is that the soil is at certain places acidic in nature, not completely acidic, but at certain places it is acidic in nature. Okay, now let us look at now the crops that can be grown in this soil. Okay, as you see the picture, you will realize here the first crop, can you identify here? Wheat. Okay, so as I said some time back, the soil supports the use of fertilizer. It allows the use of fertilizer, so it responds to fertilizer. So we have to use the term red soil responds to fertilizer, and because of that we are able to grow wheat, cotton, oil seeds, also rice, pulses. Okay, of course with the help of irrigation and a lot of use of fertilizers. Okay, this soil also supports growth of millets. Please remember, millets means it's a combination of jawar, bajra and nagli. Okay, jawar, bajra and nagli together called as millets. So this soil supports growth of millets also. Now let us look at distribution. Okay, you will find this soil is found here abundantly. Can you identify this state? You are right, it is Tamil Nadu. This region here is Andhra Pradesh. Okay, you will find here also in abundant quantity. So in northeast India, which includes Nagaland, then Manipur, okay, Mizoram also, this soil is found abundantly. It is also found to some extent in northwest part of India. Okay, so these are the states, and besides them we will also find this soil in Karnataka, also here in Chhattisgarh, also here in Orissa. Okay, so if you look at the map, dear students, and if you memorize the location of this soil, you will be able to write down places where this soil is found in India. Okay, now this is the real photograph that's taken from the state of Tamil Nadu, dear student. Okay, you will find here this soil is reddish and to some extent yellowish in color. Okay, we have seen that why it is okay yellowish, because whenever water gets added. Sometimes they might ask you question that why this soil, red soil, is not very good for agriculture. We have already seen this is not very good for agriculture because it lacks many minerals like nitrogen, phosphorus, humus and lime. Okay, then this soil is also not able to retain much of the moisture, so also it is acidic in nature, so that's why it is not very good. But then why are we able to grow the crops? So the answer is because one of the good characteristic of this soil is that it responds to the use of fertilizers. Now, if they ask you why this soil needs a lot of irrigation, now some time back we seen that this soil does not retain moisture. If you want to grow the crops, you will have to irrigate the crops which are growing over there repeatedly. Okay, and in this way, dear students, you can answer various questions based on this topic. Okay, now we have come to the last type of soil in our syllabus, and that is laterite soil. Okay, laterite soil. Now look at this picture. Okay, you will find here this rock also reddish in color. Name of this rock is laterite rock. Okay, and the soil which is formed by the disintegration of laterite rock is called as laterite soil. Okay, now look at this picture carefully. Here you will find uh, that here some rainfall is shown. Please understand what I am telling you now. Okay, when rainfall occurs, dear children, okay, heavy rainfall I mean to say. Now in this soil, lime and silica which are present, this lime and silica get washed away, or they are carried by water and they start getting percolated deep in the soil. This process in which lime and silica get removed from the soil is called as leaching. Okay, this remember this word, leaching. Leaching is a process of what? Removal of what? Lime and silica from the soil. Okay, now let us look at distribution of this soil. Okay, where is this soil found? Now look here, these are the northeastern states, so it is basically found in Meghalaya. Okay, it is also found here in Orissa. Then here in eastern side, actually if you remember, here is a presence of eastern ghats. Okay, similarly if you see on the western side, okay, here is a presence of western ghat. So this soil is found on the summits of western and eastern ghats. Okay, so now this is found in on the summits, and they are basically present here in Orissa, Tamil Nadu, major part of Kerala, also some part of Goa. So this will be the location where laterite soil is found. Okay, now look at this picture. Okay, you are now, dear students, looking at the summit. Okay, this place is Panchgani, a very famous hill station in Maharashtra, and the soil, my dear students, which you are finding over here is this laterite soil. So it is found on summits, that means the peaks of western ghats. It is also found on the summits of eastern ghats. Okay, now what are now the characteristics of this soil? Okay, the first characteristic, as you can see, this soil is also red in color. Why do you think it will be red in color? You are correct, because it also has abundant amount of iron oxide. Now this soil is actually not very good, okay, for cultivation of crops, because this soil lacks major nutrients. Okay, these nutrients include nitrogen, magnesium, phosphoric acid, lime, and because these nutrients are not present in much quantity, this soil is also not good for cultivation. Okay, now another characteristic of this soil, that it is acidic in nature. Then this soil becomes very hard. I am using the word very hard when moisture is lost from it, and that is why this soil is used for making bricks. Okay, now this soil, like red soil, is friable in nature. Okay, and it is coarse in nature, and this soil also does not retain moisture. Now the question that might come to you, that how are we going to now distinguish between red and laterite soil, because color is same, the chemical characteristics are also almost same, then how are we going to distinguish? Please remember, This laterite soil is coarse, means it is more rough to the touch, whereas red soil is not so much rough. Second important characteristic, red soil is formed from metamorphic rocks, ancient metamorphic rocks, whereas laterite soil is formed from correct laterite rocks. Okay, laterite rocks. Now let us look at now few more characteristics of this soil. Okay, now this soil I'm talking about laterite soil. Okay, it is found in an area of alternate wet and dry spell. Wet stands for where the rainfall is very heavy, followed by dry season. Okay, some time back we saw this soil is found in Meghalaya. Okay, now you must be knowing Cherrapunji, Mausinram, the places which receive highest rainfall in the world. Okay, it means there is very heavy rainfall followed by dry season. So it is found in Meghalaya. Similarly found in Kerala. Now Kerala is the first state in India to receive rainfall. It is also on a windward side of the Western Ghat. It means it is receiving very heavy rain followed by dry spell or dry season. So this soil is found in a region of alternate wet and dry season. Okay. Now, which crops do you think will be grown in this soil? Okay, as we have seen, this soil is not very fertile, but yes, still we can grow some crops in this soil. Okay, the first crop that you find here is, okay, this is cashew nut. Okay, I hope you must be aware cashew nuts of Goa are very famous, and Goa is also having this soil in abundance, so therefore cashew nuts grow there very well. Second crop that grows very well in this soil is coffee. You can also grow tea in this soil, and you can also grow tapioca. Now this one you see is tapioca. These are actually nothing but the roots of a plant. Please remember, they look like sweet potato. Their taste is also like sweet potato, but it is not sweet potato. Okay, its name is tapioca, and it is actually used to make sago. Okay, this that you see here is sago. We also call it by the name sabudana in local language. So laterite soil supports growth of tapioca, which is useful for making sago. The Adivasi people, okay, consume them. I'm talking about tapioca as their food. One more crop that can grow very well in this soil is rubber. Okay, please remember, in our country, Kerala ranks number 1 in the production of rubber, and laterite soil does support cultivation of rubber in it. Okay, you can also grow rice in this crop, but you will have to use lot of fertilizers in order to grow this crop. Okay, so these are in this way, dear students, the 4 variety of soils, major soils that are found in India. Okay, our next topic is soil erosion and soil conservation.